She leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. "He can keep pretending he knows you, but I see you. And I could teach you a few things he never will." In that moment, I knew getting close to her would change everything, and I still couldn't step away. The story opens from a male narrator's point of view, a 24-year-old who never expected his life to be pulled off its ordinary track by a woman who carried both elegance and danger in her smile. He sees her for the first time at a small evening gathering. Warm lighting, soft chatter in the background, glasses clinking, music low and distant. She stands out instantly. Confident posture, calm eyes, and a presence that makes the room feel as if it's moving around her, not with her. Emotionally, this part should capture awakening curiosity, unspoken attraction, and the sense that he is being seen in a way he is not used to. Show his internal voice, self-aware, a little restless, and surprised by how drawn he is to someone older, composed, and untouchable. Their first real moment alone should be triggered by something small, a brief conversation that turns unexpectedly personal. She notices things most people miss: his tone, his hesitation, the weight he hides behind casual words. While others treat him like a boy figuring out life, she looks at him like a man with edges, choices, and potential. This difference becomes the emotional hook. When she smirks and says her line, "I could teach you a few things he never will," it should not feel flirty for the sake of flirting. It should feel like a challenge, a spark, a door opening that he never planned to walk through, yet suddenly can't ignore. The line should land with layered tension, part compliment, part provocation, part invitation into a world that promises depth, danger, and emotional intimacy he has never experienced. Sensory detail matters here. Her voice should feel close. Her perfume should linger. Her eyes should hold just a second too long. His heartbeat should pick up, not because of lust, but because someone finally sees through him instead of at him. Narration pacing, slow, steady, attentive. Let silence and small details carry weight. A glance, a hand brushing past, the warmth of her presence beside him. By the end of Keynote 1, he should walk away unsettled, thinking about her more than he should, replaying her words, knowing he has just crossed an invisible emotional line. He tries to convince himself that the moment meant nothing, that she was just being clever or playful. Yet the memory of her smirk, her voice, and the way she looked straight into him lingers like a subtle perfume that refuses to fade. Even the smallest reminders, an empty hallway, the curve of a glass, a song playing somewhere in the distance, tug him back to that night. Their second interaction should happen unexpectedly, somewhere quieter and more personal than the first encounter. Maybe a late evening when most people are gone, or an in-between moment when the world isn't paying attention. She notices his hesitation immediately, the way he avoids eye contact at first, the way he tries to keep their conversation surface level. And she doesn't let him. Instead, she leans in with disarming calm, asking direct questions no one his age usually asks him. What do you want? What are you afraid of? When did you stop trusting your own voice? This part must show emotional intimacy without physical intimacy, the kind of closeness that happens through honesty, not touch. As they talk, her presence feels different this time. There is less teasing and more depth. She listens fully, without interrupting, without trying to fix him, and that alone becomes addictive. He finds himself saying things he never planned to say, revealing thoughts he usually keeps buried. Her responses are layered with subtle wisdom. Not lectures, not instructions, just perspectives born from experience and quiet scars. But beneath the calm conversation, there's a new current, unspoken tension. The way her eyes linger. The way she steps closer, but not close enough to touch. The way silence stretches between them, warm and electric, like a held breath neither of them wants to release. By the end of Keynote 2, the narrator should realize one undeniable truth. This connection is no longer accidental. He wants more time, more conversations, more of the way she makes him feel awake. Yet at the same time, he senses the danger. He knows what people would say, what lines shouldn't be crossed, what this could cost both of them. The scene should begin in a setting where they can no longer hide behind coincidence. Perhaps a private corner after an event, a late-night encounter on a quiet street, or a moment when she asks him to stay after everyone else leaves. The atmosphere should be intimate but calm. Warm lighting, still air, a hush that makes every word and breath feel amplified. She senses his restlessness before he admits it. With a soft, knowing voice, she asks the question he has been avoiding since the night they met. Why do you keep running from what you feel? That line becomes the core of the episode. He tries to deny it again, but she steps closer, not touching him, only closing the distance enough for him to feel her presence settle into his breath and heartbeat. Her eyes hold his steadily, not demanding, not pleading, simply inviting truth. She speaks about him the way no one ever has, naming the confidence he hides, the potential he doubts, the loneliness behind his smile. Her words strip away his defenses more effectively than any touch could. This is where the first meaningful touch should happen. Small, deliberate, unforgettable. Maybe her fingertips brush his wrist, or she fixes his collar, or she places her hand over his just for a second too long. The touch must be gentle, respectful, but electric. The moment should hit him like a spark, not because of the physical contact alone, but because of what it means. She is no longer just someone he's drawn to. She is someone he is beginning to need. The narrator feels both exhilarated and terrified. He knows this connection is no longer something he can explain to himself as harmless curiosity. He realizes that she is offering him something rare, not attention, but understanding, not flirtation, but awakening. And in that realization, his resistance begins to crumble. The scene should end with a soft but dangerous truth. Maybe she whispers, "If you stay close to me, you can't pretend anymore." And he doesn't walk away this time. This part should explore emotional escalation through proximity and vulnerability. They see each other again, not by accident and not with caution. There is an unspoken agreement now. They are not pretending anymore. The atmosphere of their next interaction should feel heavier, charged, almost fragile, as if a single misstep could break whatever is forming between them. Set the scene somewhere private and warm. A quiet corner, a dim evening space, or a room where the world can't intrude. When they talk, their voices should be low by instinct, not necessity. She tries to keep a controlled demeanor, but for the first time, her guard slips. A story from her past surfaces, a quiet confession, perhaps about a love that failed, a betrayal that changed her, or a dream she once abandoned. Whatever the detail, it should reveal why she sees through him so easily and why she hesitates to let herself feel anything again. This is the emotional centerpiece of Part 4. Her vulnerability becomes the reason he can't walk away. As she opens up, he listens closely, not just with empathy, but with a growing protectiveness. He begins to understand that her confidence isn't armor. It's a shield she wears so no one sees the softness and hurt underneath. The connection deepens not through touch, but through truth shared without fear. And then comes the moment that defines the episode, their first undeniably intimate closeness. Maybe she reaches for his hand without thinking. Maybe he steps in to comfort her, and she doesn't move away. Maybe their heads lean close, foreheads nearly touching, breaths mingling in the silence. Their eyes meet, not questioning, not teasing, but answering something neither of them has dared say out loud. This moment must feel inevitable and forbidden at the same time. Just when it seems they might cross into a kiss, she stops. Not coldly, not with rejection, but with a shaky breath and a whispered truth. If we go any further, there's no going back. The weight of her words hangs between them. The narrator realizes something crystal clear. This is no casual attraction. This is a turning point, a choice, a risk. And for the first time, he's not afraid of what he feels, only of losing the chance to explore it. The emotional theme here is pressure from the outside, confusion on the inside. The narrator feels the world around him tightening, obligations, expectations, and the voice in his head reminding him this connection is complicated, risky, maybe even doomed. At the same time, every hour he spends away from her only clarifies one truth. He doesn't want to go back to who he was before he met her. Their next real interaction should happen in a moment neither of them plans. Perhaps an unexpected late-night encounter or a quiet hallway where they find themselves alone again. The energy is different now. Heavier, thicker, harder to breathe through. She tries to maintain distance at first, keeping her posture composed, her tone neutral. But proximity betrays them. The more they speak, the more obvious it becomes that neither of them has truly stepped back. This part must highlight their mutual loss of control. He can no longer pretend his feelings are small or temporary. She can no longer pretend she is unaffected or merely curious. Conversation becomes the battleground. She challenges him, asking if he understands what this could cost, if he realizes the emotional storm that could follow. Not because she wants to push him away, but because she needs to know he isn't confusing infatuation with something deeper. Instead of retreating, he answers with unexpected clarity. He tells her how she makes him think, how she makes him feel seen, how she brings out a version of himself he didn't know he could be. His voice isn't dramatic. It's steady, sincere, vulnerable. His honesty disarms her more than any touch could. Here's where the first true emotional confession lands. Not, "I love you," but something rawer. "I don't want distance. Not from you." This moment shakes her. She turns away, torn between desire and fear. For the first time, her composure cracks visibly. She admits she hasn't let anyone close in a long time. Not because she couldn't, but because she wouldn't risk breaking again. Her voice softens, her shoulders lower. When she finally looks back at him, there is no armor left. Only a woman who is scared of wanting something she doesn't trust the world to understand. He steps closer, not impulsively, deliberately. She doesn't stop him this time. Their hands find each other, fingers interlacing slowly, naturally, as if both have finally surrendered to the truth they were running from. The atmosphere in this part should be tense, intimate, and emotionally charged. They meet again, this time intentionally, not by fate, not by coincidence. A private setting, a quiet evening, the kind of moment where no one can interrupt the truth that's about to unfold. Instead of the shaky uncertainty of before, their presence is now familiar, magnetic, and deeply personal. But familiarity brings fear. The emotional theme in Part 6 is confronting the cost. She tries to create distance again, but her attempts are weaker now. Thin walls he can see through. She speaks with reason. She talks about consequences, about how people will judge, about how age, timing, and circumstance are stacked against them. Her voice is steady, but her eyes betray her, filled with panic, longing, and a quiet ache she can't hide from him. For the first time, the narrator pushes back, not emotionally, but logically. He calls out her fear. He points out that she keeps imagining the worst outcome and ignoring the possibility of something meaningful, something rare, something worth risking for. He tells her that he knows what he wants, not out of impulse, but out of clarity. This is a key emotional reversal. The younger man becomes the steady one, while the older woman becomes the one afraid of falling. This part should include the first true embrace, lasting, intentional, not accidental, not rushed, not hungry, simply two people holding each other because neither wants to run anymore. Describe it slowly, the way her breath hesitates before relaxing into his shoulder, the way his hand settles at her back, grounding her, the way she closes her eyes as if letting herself rest for the first time in years. This hug should feel like surrender, a mutual release of the fight against what they feel. But the warmth doesn't erase the weight. It only makes it clearer. Before the scene ends, there must be a moment that threatens them. A knock at the door, a phone call, a voice in the hallway, or even just her sudden realization of how close they've become. This intrusion doesn't expose them, but it reminds them of the world outside, the world that will not understand, the world that could tear them apart. She pulls back, shaken. Not cold, terrified. With a trembling voice, she admits the deepest truth of all. I don't know how to love without losing myself. The narrator realizes the greatest obstacle isn't society. It's her fear of her own heart. The final episode must begin with distance, not closeness. A pause, a day or two without seeing each other. Not out of anger, but reflection. The narrator struggles with the silence, fighting the urge to chase her. Instead, he decides that if this love is going to survive, it must be chosen freely, not dragged, not cornered, not begged for. She must come to him with her heart open, not her guard raised. During this time, both characters look inward. He realizes that love is not about winning or claiming. It's about showing up without fear. She realizes that running has never protected her. It has only kept her lonely. The final confrontation should happen someplace meaningful, someplace quiet, a balcony at dusk, a small room, or a place where they first connected. She arrives unsure, hesitant, but with softness in her eyes. There is no dramatic shouting, no melodrama, only honesty. She admits the truth she once buried. You scare me, because you make me hope again. This is the emotional breakthrough. The narrator doesn't rush to touch her. He just listens, fully, patiently, with the kind of attention that proves everything he's been saying all along. When she says she's tired of living guarded, of choosing safety over feeling, of pretending she doesn't want something real, that is the moment the story turns. He steps closer, gently, giving her every chance to step back. She doesn't. Their final closeness, whether a kiss on the forehead, a tender embrace, or a slow, deliberate kiss, YouTube safe and romantic, must feel earned, not taken. The moment should be described with warmth, breath, touch, and emotional surrender, not heat. Her hand rests against his chest. His arms wrap around her, pulling her in with quiet certainty. Everything they fought, society, hesitation, age, fear, dissolves into that embrace. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because they finally chose each other. The ending message should be clear and hopeful. Love is not about avoiding pain. It's about choosing the person who makes the risk worth it. They walk forward together, not perfect, not fearless, but united.